Hello everyone, today we are looking at one of these. This is not just a great big heavy box, this is in fact, happy Halloween everybody, a Motorola PRX C451. That probably doesn't mean much to some of you guys, but this is the original box it came in. Nobody's got one of these that's boxed as far as I'm aware. I'm the only collector that's got one of these that's still in its original box. And I know about a dozen collectors worldwide that all have over 800 phones. Most of them have got over 1,000 phones like myself. This one is unfortunately in pretty bad shape. The box, that is. And it weighs an absolute ton. But as you can see, the box is original because it's got, if you take away all the paper and shit, it's got all the codes and stuff, the model number. This was actually a CX451, but the phone inside is actually I think just a C451. The significance of the second letter is what kind of variant of model it is. They did CMs, CDs, CTs, and they probably did a few others as well. It varied in terms of what accessories you got when it comes to car phones or transportable. But I'll go into that in a minute. It looks like actually this one was provided with an Audi or VW, because it's got some sort of sticker there. I've never actually noticed that. But yeah, it's got the original stickers and whatnot. So let's take a look inside and see what you got. I've put this on here because obviously it's got the sender's address and my address at the time when I bought this. It's out of date now, but still for reference anyway. And don't worry about the 4-digit number there, that's for my own reference anyway. So this is what you got. But now, when you open one of these up, you obviously didn't get the paperwork because that's just a contract, but you got a manual. I will show you the contracts actually. Don't know what that's about. I guess that's just some barcode. Don't really need that. And this was the original paperwork, the original contract you guys would have had to sign back in the day when if you bought one of these and signed up to a tariff. Now, these were the how do you say, the sort of recommendations on how to fill all this out, or so I've been told. I guess these are just bits of advice on how to fill all these fields up. But this is an original C-Tel or C-Netz contract. This would have been way back, I would say probably 89, 1990, this paperwork dates from, because the C-Net in Germany was, well, it operated, I think, from 86. I think, no, it launched 85, but was pretty much fully deployed in 86. And I think it died a death probably early to mid 90s. I'm not too sure when it was switched off, but this was the original contract. I can't translate all of this because this is all German stuff, but by the looks of it, you got some different tariffs up here: standard tariff, economy tariff, C-Tel Duo card. Now I'll explain what that is in a second, but you got obviously a choice of numbers and whatnot, and some other bits and bobs, and you got not much in the way of terms and conditions, I don't think, unless there's terms and conditions on the back of this. Let's have a look. No, it's all the same. Not really much in terms and conditions. But anyway, so paperwork out the way. You got a real neat manual, and this is again original. This is all original. Does this have a date on the back? Doesn't really have a date, does it? No, shame. So this is the original. Oh, there you go. This manual is for CM and CX451s in the C-Netz, obviously. So you got, never actually sifted through this. You got some warning advice, I think, and you got a nice sectioned off folder with some with some bits. I don't really know anything about this menu because unfortunately I don't actually have a charger for this. I do have the car cradle and the car cable because the guy that sold this to me obviously used it in the car, and it looks like when they made this manual they didn't punch the holes correctly. Look at this. How mad is that? I've never noticed that. It's not like the holes have been ripped out. I mean, look at that. The holes haven't actually been punched properly. How mad is that? So yeah, the guy that sold this to me actually used this in his car. So he has the actual car cable or car loom, but I didn't get the charger for it. Now let me just show you guys this. This is just a neat little thing they gave you for business cards, but you could also slot your smart card in there. I say smart card because these weren't SIM cards at the time. This is pre-SIM. I think somebody did ask me when the first smart cards or SIM cards came about. And I think this is probably the network that had these kind of smart cards. So this is the phone. You may say, oh well, that's not that big actually, but this does weigh just over 5 kilos with the battery. 5 kilos in pounds, what is that, 2.2 pounds to the kilo, so 11-ish, 11.5 pounds probably, something like that. This is the phone, and when you had the different variants, basically this bit here is the phone, and obviously this is an interface to connect this, and the way to undo that is to undo these two screws up here. You got a lot of connectors down here, and a D-type for some expansion thing. I'm not too sure what that's for, but yeah. And of course you got the antenna. This is obviously 450 megahertz. The phone is so old that it squeaks. How about that? So that slots in there like so. And I dig out the battery out this box as well. Remove that. You got to obviously take the cardboard out. Now I don't know if you can see what's underneath. Let me try and move this out the way. You got a whole bunch of stuff in the box like so. I can't really lift this any higher actually. You got all sorts of cable looms and stuff like that. Like I said, the guy who sold this to me had the cable loop for the car. This is the full cable loom for the car. Now this plugs in to the phone, to the battery actually, which I'll pull out in a minute. This plugs into the phone unit, which you take off the handle like I just showed you, and that's got quite chunky power cables going to it. And this is your interfaces to I don't know, microphone and speaker and whatnot, and some other gubbins, and you've got some sort of ignition connector there, I think, or something. I don't know. I've not really worked out what goes where, but I do actually have a connections diagram on how to wire that shit up. Now you also got a different loom. Well, you got a whole bunch of other cables. You got the antenna cable, which is BNC. You got, I don't know what the heck this is. If anybody can tell me what the heck this is for, it's a really strange thing. Catherine, I'm guessing that's for an antenna of some sort. Maybe to do up the nut on the antenna. I'm not too sure, but I don't know why that's got ridges on it, or even this thing here. I'm not too sure what that's for. But anyway, you got that little thing, and you got a chunky power cable which connected directly to the battery, and the other end has obviously been desoldered from the loom I just showed you guys. And then you also got, where's it gone? I did have it just a minute ago. You got a nice little old school fuse box. Believe it or not, this is a real old school fuse box. Two cables go in here, 12 volt comes out of there. These white little things in here that are furry, well, you can't really see them. Those are actually the wires which are wrapped in some sort of furry stuff. You obviously replace that shit by undoing that to pop in the lid off and replacing the little fuses. Real old school this. I mean it doesn't get any much more old school than that. So, and then obviously you got the battery, which I can actually lift with one hand. There we go. Right. This is, I can't put that on there either. To give you some sort of idea how heavy it is, I'm going to have to move this box out the way. Right, so this is the battery, and this weighs quite a bit. I would say this alone probably weighs 1.5 kilos. So, just to give you some sort of idea, this is the battery. This is the smaller of the batteries, believe it or not. This is, I think, a 1.7 ampere hour battery. Doesn't actually say on here what the capacity is. But they did batteries which are actually twice as tall as that. So if you imagine another one of these like so you'd have a battery like that, and this would sit at the bottom of your phone like so. These connectors match up with those connectors, and you'd slot this sucker in like so, and then you got, oh, I can't lift that. I can't show you guys that. I'm gonna have to lower the camera. Right, let's try that again. So basically you got these little I don't know, little handles, and you basically slot that in like so, and the other side. These are very similar to flight case type handles or real old school briefcase type handles. Quite strong, but a real pain to get just right. And this one's not playing ball at all. There we go. So, and this was what you had to carry around. And I'm not a small guy. I work out in the gym, but this really is ridiculous. To lift this at arm's length is quite hard. So, as you can clearly see, this would be your phone. Now, I did mention smart cards. This one doesn't actually have one in there. I do have several. And I do actually have a few of these, believe it or not. I only have one that's boxed, but I have a few of these. So let me just show you guys. This is another one. This is pretty much the same or similar model. No, I think this is, I think this was a CM, and this is I think a CT or something. I'm not too sure, but does it say on the back? No, it doesn't. PRX C451, no it doesn't, but this is very, very similar, and this has the original card. Yes, I know it's a little bit dusty, but these have been in storage. Now this is a more modern C-Netz smart card. I say smart card because these aren't actually SIM cards. I know they look like SIM cards, but they really aren't. These are smart cards for the simple reason that the C-Netz was kind of analog. Well, it was analog, but it had a little digital thing to it as well, the way the technology works. These are smart cards in essence. They work like SIM cards of today. You know, nowadays you have, you know, your Vodafone, your O2 SIM cards, I suppose. These worked kind of in the similar way. This was your subscriber identity type thing. But the beauty about these is you could actually use these cards in the phone, and when the battery ran out in the phone, you could take the card out and you could go to a normal phone box in the street with that logo, and you could slot this guy in and you could place calls in the phone box, and it would be billed to your cell phone bill. Now, how cool was that? I think that's a pretty ingenious idea, given back in these days the battery on this probably only lasted, I don't know, I would hazard a guess, maybe 10 hours, 12 hours, no more. Because these are 8-watt units, they run some serious juice. They need some serious power. So, you know, the batteries didn't last very long. And there's a warning on the battery, actually. I didn't show you this. I'll show you guys. But if you overcharge the battery, you basically damage the cells. I'm going to quickly undo this guy because I wanted to actually show you the inside of the battery of one of these. Pretty neat, these. But there's the warning. These are definitely NiCad batteries, as it says there, 12 volt. And basically this is 10 1.2 volt D type cells, but I'll open that in a minute. Let me just pop this guy back in here. I do actually have a few of these, like I said. I've got an Alcatel like this, I've got a Stabo, I've got a Storno, got a few Stornos actually, and a few, but these are just the first off the pile. I've been opening up crates in storage. This is a Stabo, or Stabo. Exactly kind of identical, just the handset design is a little bit different. It's got the Stabo logo on there, and it's pretty much the same. These all weigh an absolute ton. This one's actually a little bit heavier than the Motorola's. I don't know why, but pretty neat phones. You would definitely get shoulder ache if you had to carry one of these around daily. Most of these phones are designed really to be stuck in cars, with the concept of you taking the card out and having a smaller handset, or something. You know, if you have more than one card, generally people who afforded these back in the late 80s generally had more than one card, because these weren't cheap to buy. And you had to be somebody to be able to afford to own one of these back in the 80s, early 90s. So chances are you had more than one car, and you could take the card out and put the card into another phone in another car. So, but anyway, I'm going to quickly open up this guy, just to show you the inside of one of these, because I'm sure not many people have seen the inside of a battery pack this big. Certainly worth having a look inside. So I'm just going to quickly undo these screws. Okay, so that's the cover. This is just a flimsy bit of plastic, and this is what the inside looks like. Now, it is a real pain in the ass to get this thing out, because it's not really been designed to get taken apart. But the circuit board just pops out with a couple of cables connected to it, and a couple of sensors as well. Get this sucker out. Right, so I'll turn this around like so, just so you guys can see. But you got a load of cells in there. These two little things here, I think these are actually to sense heat, and obviously when the cells get too hot, the power would obviously be cut, or something. I'm not too sure, but they look like possibly heat sensors of some sort. So like I said, there is 10 D-sized cells. You got a cable here, you got the positive one just there. Actually, this comes undone. Actually, you could easily, you got some blue cables here. You got about 5 or 6 blue cables, and that is where the charger used to plug in. It's a real bizarre connector. That it's actually a screw-on, even though it's got pins pointing out. The outside is, I think, a screw and a latch on, or maybe well, it's a screw and latch on, but the latches are actually on the inside. It's not a screw on as such, but they did do connectors like that did screw. So this is what the battery looks like. I wish you guys could understand how heavy this is. This actually weighs an absolute ton. This has got to be at least 1.5 kilos, possibly even 2 kilos. That's like 4 pounds, 4.5 pounds just alone in terms of weight on the battery. So but anyway, that's all I can say really about this. It's a shame I can't actually power these on. I do have a charger somewhere, but it's got obviously separated because it's a great big thing. It got separated, how do you say, from the phone. The space in the box where the cable looms were, that's normally where the charger sit. It's a great big thing like this. And I will, when I find it, I will do an update video on one of these just to power it up, to sift through the menu so you guys get to see one of these, and how it used to actually operate. These obviously can't be used anymore. These are analog. These two operate on the C-Netz, which was C450, 450 megahertz, and that's long been gone. Similar to the NMT systems they had out in Scandinavia and a couple of other places in the world like Russia. And I've been told recently Portugal as well, apparently. I'm not too sure about that, so don't quote me on that. But anyway, if you like the fun of the video, give me the thumbs up. Happy Halloween, everybody. I know I'm sporting a bright yellow sweater, and I look like a clown wearing this, but hey, it is Halloween, so hope you guys have got a good one, and enjoy tonight. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button, and give me the thumbs up as well. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week.